Okay, Assalamualaikum and good day. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, madam.
Alright, so we are going to proceed to the new subtopic, which is the methods. Okay, methods in Java. Sometimes we call this as the modules. Alright. Okay, so let's see what is the module or the methods and why this method is needed, with the definitions, with the types, such as the passing arguments, return value, and so on. Alright. Okay, so the methods or the module, okay, is a self-contained block of statements that perform a specific task. Alright. So this is something that you need to know. We call this as self-contained block. So you can have one block, two blocks, three blocks. Okay. So depends on the problem that requires you how you need to design or solve that. Okay, so for this block there is a specific task. Okay, so what you have learned before this is you just working with one main method. Alright, just one main method, but this time you need to learn how to design with different methods, and you have to create specific methods with suitability based on the functions, okay, based on the problem. Okay, so these modules or the methods, okay, have benefits such as reduce duplications. Uh, reduce duplications because in the program, sometimes we have some repetitions process. So the process can be transformed into one block. Okay, so instead having many repetitions, so you can design into a block, so some repetitions or duplications can be reduced. Alright, and then improve readability. Okay, one of the reason is we can identify which methods for which functions or for which tasks. Okay, so usually the block or the methods will be given the name based on the task, the main task for that structure. So because of the functions can be designed with specific name or based on the specific task, thus the problem to debug will be reduced also. Alright, okay, then you can enhance or improve the program structure. Okay, so we have several method structure in Java. So let's see what are the components. So basically, maybe few of these item you have learned during the class. Alright. Okay, so have you seen this public static? You learned this, right? Okay, mainly in the lab you have seen this public static. Okay, so now this part we will call this as the method header. Okay, header means like it works like a manager in that program. Okay, then you have the method name. Okay, so this is the components on for the methods or the modules. Okay, the first one is the header, second one is the method name, and then we have the parenthesis. In the parenthesis you may contain the parameter, sometimes you call this as the argument. Okay, so if inside of the parenthesis has some arguments of or it have parameter, means that the method is with parameter. Okay, if you see that the contents in this parenthesis is empty, it's just a parenthesis only, no parameters, so it means that the method is without parameters. Okay, parameters referring to the variables. Alright, then you have the body of the statements using this set of curly brackets. Alright, so this is the one that you have learned. Right, okay, then actually this static is one of the methods. Okay, one of the method. Later on you will see the specific types of these methods or modules. Right, okay, then the one that you have learned is void main. Correct, void mains. So in the next slide, the mains you need to change to a new name. Okay, for example, the method name, and usually the method name we will create related to the problem. Okay, so what you have learned before this is you have this main, void main, right? Void main. So this is your common method. Okay, so now for today's you need to know and learn how you can change this mains to a different name, and there are some different types of method that you can design with. Alright, okay, so in the body of the statements will be the task, any task that related to the problem. Alright, either to read the inputs, to display, or to compute something. Okay, so let's see the types of methods here. Okay, there are lots actually, but we will consider the common one in Java. Okay, so the first one is methods with no return value. Okay, so we can identify this using the keywords of void. Okay, or we call this as void methods. So in this void method, this structure perform an actions but do not return a value. Okay, so mainly this one, the example for this first type is the one that you have learned during previous class. Okay, you have public static void main, except that your method name is main. So in the current slide, it shows that the method name is display message. Okay, display message. Right, so this is your method name of display message. So instead having main as the common one that you have learned, so in this example, you can see in the body of this method we have system out.println, right, println, which is hello. So we are creating the method's name, okay, based on the structure. So since that the structure or the body of the structure is to display the message of hello, so the method name for this will be display message. You can choose other name. Alright, but you have to take notes that the method names the rules to create the method's name will be similar to how you create variable name. Okay, except that this is not a variable. Okay, but in terms of creating the name, will we follow similar rules, okay, for the variable. Okay, so display message is the method name, so you cannot have white space for these things. Alright, for the variable name. Okay, so then there's a remark here, do not return a value. So one common keywords that you can identify is there's no return words in this body of the structure. Okay, in your body of your main the method structure, there's no return. Alright, so since there's no keyword of return, it means that we have this method name that do not return a value. Okay, next one, we have methods that return a value. Right, okay, return value, in the current example you can see this is the keyword of return. Alright, okay, then we have public static int square. Alright, okay, so basically this is your method name. Okay, method's name, and inside of these methods, okay, there is an argument. Right, okay, there's an argument or parameter, because you can see here there is a int num. So num is the variable. So inside of these things, it's not a declaration, it is just a parameter, or we call this as an argument. Okay, so the purpose of these arguments is you will be using that kinds of parameter, okay, something that related to the computations or other similar problem. Right, okay, so in this methods we have public static int square. So basically this is your method's name. Then in the body of this square methods we have coding stated as return num times num. Right, so this is actually the involving of your arithmetic operations, right, because it consists of multiplications. So then we have the keywords of return. Alright, so since there is a keyword of return, so this is the method's name, that perform the calculations. How we know there is a calculation? Because we have something okay, there's a arithmetic operators that is involved here, okay, then there is a return value in this program. Right, let me check, is there any message? Alright, okay, is there any questions so far?
No, madam.
Wait, what is the message? Alright, yeah. Okay, next up is the methods with parameter. Did I miss something? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, methods with parameter. Okay, so parameter is this one, the one in this parenthesis. Alright. So this program has no return value because in the body of this method there's no return something, right? Okay, so the function name of method name for this current example is show number. Okay, show number. Alright. Okay, so usually if there's no return, if compared with the previous example for this int square, alright, if there's no return, we just put here as void. So that is the common way that you can utilize, right? So in the body of your main methods, if there's nothing that need to be returned or computed, so we just stated here using void. Okay, if there's no return. But if it's something that you have to return to what? Okay, usually return to your main methods. Okay, return to your main method. So there is a passing value that is required, so you need to use return. Okay, so when there is a return in the body of your main methods, okay, in the, sorry, not main methods, the body of these methods, then you need to change this void, okay, to either integer, character, floats, double, and so on, depends on what is the data types that involved for that variable. Okay, let's say you compute something like an integer at the end, then the value of that integer need to pass. So this void you need to replace to int because there is a return value need to be passing to your main structure. Okay, main structure is your public static void mains. Alright. Okay, so this is the one involved with the arguments. Alright, so if you can see in this current example, we have int n. So there is only one argument. Okay, so this argument is not limited to one. You can have more than one argument, such as 2 arguments, 3 arguments, and so on. Okay, let's say you have 2 arguments. So you need to state int n, comma, maybe you have int p, for example. So in that case, you have 2 arguments. Okay, why we need 2 arguments? So it depends on the problem. Maybe the problem need to do some computations between 2 variables. Alright, so you need to state that 2 parameters or the arguments involved. Okay, maybe you want to do some multiplication between the 2 numbers, so we declare that kinds of arguments inside here in your methods. Okay, not in the main methods, in your methods, based on that kinds of functions based on your problem. Alright, next is methods without parameter. Okay, there's no return here. If you can see here, okay, in this current example, there's no return, so there's a void, and then in the parentheses there is no int or double or char and so on. Okay, so inside of this parenthesis it is empty. Alright, so we see here there is no argument. Alright, so basically this is an example for the program that it has no argument and also no return value. Okay. Okay, so what is the task for this method is to display one start, two exits. Okay, for example, so the method name here is show menu. This is method name. Okay, so method name is quite similar to functions name. So usually we transform from your problem. So you need to know what is this task for that main task for the problem. Then we can do some partitions for the block. Okay, for example, this the first task is to compute multiplication. So then you create the first method name. Second one, you need to display what is the computed multiplications. Then you can create another second method name display. So basically you have three structures. The first one is for first method, second one is for second method, third one is your main method. Alright. Okay, next is overloaded methods. Okay, so overloaded method is multiple methods with the same name. Okay, the name of the method is the same, but it contains different parameter lists. Okay, different types. Okay, for example, we have this method name of print. Alright. Okay, this method name of print, and then this program do not have return value. Okay, so there is a void. Okay, there is a void here. Alright. Okay, but since the variable in the program or in the problem, it has a different groups of numbers. Okay, maybe one is the integer type, another one is double. Okay, so then you have to create a different parameter list. Okay, in one of the methods, only common group of that numbers you can group that. But if you have another different types of data types, then you need to create another method. Okay, basically this is the overloaded methods. So for each part of this method name, in terms of void print integer x and maybe void print double x, there is a different task for each part that need to be performed. Alright, so then static methods. Okay, the one that you have learned basically, static methods is the one of the common methods. Okay, so static means that it belongs to the class and can be called without creating an object. So you can just call that the structure without creating an object. Alright, so object is the one something similar to the way how we create object name for the library file. Okay, but this one it is in terms of the method name. Okay, so we have also these non-static methods, sometimes called as instance. Okay, non-static or instance. So this belongs to the object, right? And requires object creations. For example, we have public void display. Okay, public void display. This is more instance that you can create, right? There's no static here, so you can see there's no keyword of static. Okay, now we'll see more example. Okay, based on several types that I have explained just now. Okay, let's see. Okay, the current coding here we have public static voids. So this is static type. There's no return value in the program, right? There's no return value. So basically this program just to display, correct? Welcome to Java programming, right? So this is the method name. You can create with other names, right? More simple. This is method name, and there is no return value, so we state here void, right? Okay, then in your main structure, okay, in your main structure you still have the public class and so on. Okay, this I just want to show because this is not a complete coding. Alright, this is not complete coding because your main method is not displayed here, but basically this calling method is in your public static void main. Alright, so basically this is the first structure. then you have another second structure. Your second structure is the one public static void main. Okay, so this one is actually in your second structure, number 2. It is inside the body of your public static void main. Alright, so basically as a complete program, the complete program contain these two, number 1 and number 2. Alright, so in this number 2, okay, we go back for number 1. Number 1 is this one, right? This kinds of structure. Alright, and then number 2 is your public class, as your public static void mains. Okay, public static void mains, which is after your public class, right? The file names and so on. Alright, so the body of your in your body of main methods, we need to call this display message. Okay, you have to call this. So this is just the way how we can call that. Alright, so this is you punya calling of the methods. Your method name is display message. So whatever method that is being stated here, you just need to call back the method name in your main structure. Okay, in your main structure. So basically display message is not in your number 1. It's not in the first structure, it is in number 2. Your number 2 is your main method structure. Alright, okay, next we have another example. Let's identify. We have public class demo 1. Okay, public class demo 1. So inside here we have, this is your main structure. Okay, your main structure, because we can see here void main. So this is your main structure. Alright, okay, so the compiler read from top to bottom, correct? Okay, but let's see how this work. Okay, for this example. Okay, so our class name is demo 1. Okay, and then we have the main structure. So basically this is number 1. Okay, not the same with the previous one, right? So in the previous slide, basically I show in the previous slide your method first, then your main structure is number 2, right? Okay, for this current slide, your main method is the first. This is number 1. Okay, then your method name, which is show thanks, is number 2. Alright, okay, so there's no issue, but the main point, you need to know how the compiler, okay, will do the task. Okay, alright, so we have class name demo 1. Okay, then we have the main structure, so we have void mains here, and then the compiler will read this line before calling method. So this is display, right, before calling method. So this, there will be an output display here. Right, then there is show thanks. Okay, this one. Right, okay, after the compiler display before calling method, then the compiler will read the next syntax, which is show thanks. So this is actually calling of your methods. Okay, calling the method show thanks. Okay, so where is show thanks? Show thanks is here. Alright, show thanks is here. Okay, so the compiler will be going to the structure number 2. Alright, okay, when the compiler see this show thanks, this is calling of the methods, then the compiler will be going to this show thanks structure, which is your number 2. So what is the task in this show thanks? Display this, thank you for using this program. Okay, display this, thank you for using this program. Okay, once this method is end, then the compiler will be going back to this main, which is here, right, going here. Okay, then there is next task, which is to display after calling method. Okay, so the output for this program will be before calling method, thank you for using this program, and then after calling method. Okay, so this is the way. Alright, so can we this structure number 2 becomes number 1, means that your main void mains will be second structure, the method names of show tags in the first structure. Yes, you can. Okay, no problem. Alright, so if it's something that the compiler can identify, then the compiler will do that. Alright, okay, so the compiler will be going first at the void main structure. Okay, even if this structure 1 going to structure number 2, structure number 2 going to number 1, when the compiler reads after this public class, the compiler will find first your public static void main. Okay, that kinds of structure will be performed first lah. Alright, okay, any questions?
No.
Alright, next okay, let's see. This is example for passing arguments. Passing arguments. Alright, so arguments in terms of your variables. So these arguments or parameters allow data to be sent from calling method, okay, to call methods, right? Calling method to call method. So usually calling is the one in the main, okay, in the void mains. Okay, the one that callings, and then which part is another structure, it will be the call methods. Alright, okay, so you can see here, this is another different example. Your void main is in the second structure, right? We have void display as the first structure. Okay, so void main ni this one yang utama, void mains, that's why it's called as mains. Alright, okay, so we have the public class name is not listed here. Okay, just assume that we want to focus on the main part of the program. Okay, so we have this public static void main. So this is your main structure. So there is a display value 10. Okay, display value 10. So the compiler read this first because this is your main method. Alright, okay, then display value is a method name. Okay, this is a method name. Right, inside of this parenthesis there's a number 10. Okay, this is actually the value of the argument, value of the arguments. Alright, so when display value is being called here, then the compiler will be going to that structure of display value, which is here. Right, display here. Okay, now let's see the structure of display value. This is your method name. So there is a parameter here, integer int num. There is no return value, so the keyword here will be void. Right, okay, so then inside of this parameter, int is your data type for this num. So this is an argument. Alright, this is an argument. So in this task, the task is to display number is num. Alright, so basically you can see that there is no value for this num in the structure of display value. There's no value, correct? There's no value. Okay, so when this display value 10 in the main structure is actually send, okay, send this 10 to this int num. So basically this argument will receive any value of the parameter. Okay, any value of the parameter coming from your main structure. Alright, so if this 10 is not 10, maybe it's other number, maybe is 15, so that 15 will be accepted in this display value, okay, inside your arguments or your parameter. Okay, okay, so the program still work. So the output that will be display will be number is 10. Okay, the output that will be display is number is 10. Alright, so that is the way how you can manipulate different types of arguments, different structure of your methods which is without return value. Okay, any question? Any question? Wait ya, kejap, I need to stop son. Alright, resume back. Okay, this for today's topic is something that you need to think carefully, because this topic may be a bit hard to understand. So kalau you just listen, not listen carefully, not trying to understand today's topic carefully, you might be having problem to design the program after this. Alright. Okay, so for the current example, display value, before I go to the next slides, alright. So you can display value can imagine like this is the machines, alright. Okay, so this main method is you punya main structure, alright. So before display value, this machines of display value need to perform, so this machine need to receive the inputs, okay, need to receive some value, right? So the value of the number comes from your main, alright, comes from your main structure lah. So let's say here we have 10, so that 10 will be the one that will be received by this display value machine, okay. After receive, then this machine will print this number is 10. So if this 10 you change to other number, okay, maybe 12, so the machine will accept new value, number is 12. Okay, so that is the way. Alright. Okay, next one is the multiple parameters. Okay, this is another example. So in previous example we have only one parameter. In this one we have two parameters involving A and B. Alright, so if you have two parameters, so you can use like this kinds of method, int A, int B. So this parameter you can work with or manipulate in terms of the operations. You can utilize with any mathematical operations between these two parameters. Alright, okay, so let's see in this program we have this public static void mains. Alright, so this is your main structure, okay. And then when the compiler reads, so basically the compiler will go into this structure first, because this is you punya main structure. Void mains, and then we have show sum. This is the method name, okay. Show sum is being called here in this main structure. Then we have two values, 5 and 8, okay, 5 and 8. Okay, because show sum is called, so the compiler will be going to the structure show sum. Alright, and then there is 5 8s. So for show sum, okay, this machine show sum will receive 5 and 8 here. So this is 5, this is 8. Alright, okay, then the machines will print, because the task in this machine is to print this or display sum which is A plus B. Okay, so we have the compiler will need to perform this 5 plus A. Alright, okay, so then the output will be sum equal to 13. So that's all. Right, so this example we have two different structure. One is the main structure, second one is your main method structure, name of show sum. Okay, this is example for multiple parameters. Okay, next one is the return type. Okay, for return type, let's say we have static type. When there is a return value, So the void you cannot use. You need to mention or replace the void with the data type of the returning parameters. Okay. So let's say this is 5, return 5. It doesn't mean it always a number. You can have a variable. Maybe you have written a times a, for example. Alright, and then if there's something or value that is written that wow, siapa tak mute tu? Alright, if there's nothing no parameters that will be written here, so we just use void. Okay, if something need to be written, let's say a number, or maybe that written something comes from your computation, for example as a formula, so you need to state and replace the void with the types, okay, for that numbers, either integer, float, double, and so on. Alright, okay, so this is your method name. Okay, so in the main method, let's say this is your main method, but I didn't show that it's a main method. Just want to state it that calling will be in your main structure, your public static void means. Alright, so once your get number is being called here, when your get number is being called here in your main structure, so the compiler will be going to that get number structure. So the structure will be here, be going here. Right, will be going here. Okay, we'll be going to this one. So this is your main structure. Then because in the lines get number, this is calling the method call the get number, so the compiler will be going to this get number structure. Okay, then in this structure there is a return 5. Alright, so 5 will be accepted here. Okay, will be going to this main structure. Okay, in this main structure, this 5 is x. Alright, this 5 is x, and then this x you have to declare, because this is just accept the values. The main will accept the values, but what is the data type need to be declared against here. Alright, so then the next task in the main structure, display this x value, which is your 5. So the output of this program is 5. Okay, can see dia punya pusing-pusing ni, so you have to know lah what is the process about, right? Okay, so inside means, then going to where, and then if there's a return, so this return value will be going to where, because usually the program will not involve a simple one. You can have different parameters, different types of arguments, and return values. Alright, okay, next one we have methods with return. Okay, so let's see here. So the first structure that the compiler will be going to, this one, void main. This is your main structure. Alright, so and then there is a double result equal square. So this is your calling of the square method. The main method call this square, and there is a 4.5 in this bracket. Okay, so square is a methods, right? So where is this square? Square is there, so compiler will be going here. Alright, so this 4.5 is your value of your argument in your square method. So this is your values of your num. 4.5 will be here. Okay, so the argument, so the parameter is double num. Okay, double num. Alright. Okay, and then we know this is 4.5. Okay, then in this square structure, can see it, because there is a return here, we cannot have void. Okay, because there is a return here, cannot have void. So this is your parameters type. Okay, the parameter type based on your data type, because this is double, then this is also double. Alright, okay, so you can have integer here, but in the return type as a double, you can have that, but see the properties of that numbers. Okay, what is the formulations involved. Alright, and then in the square structure we have written num times num. This is arithmetic operators, so we have 4.5 times 4.5. Alright. Okay, so the computed value of this product will be returned to the next, which is your main methods. Okay, the computed value. What is 4.5 times 4.5? What is the value? 4.5 times 4.5. Okay, so that product of this will be received in the main structure, then it will be defined as result. Okay, that product value will be identified, received in the main structure, then stored as result. Alright. Okay, so then that computed of product value will be declared. This is common process lah for the declarations. Double, and then the main structure will display what is the product value here. Square equal to the result. So result will be your product of 4.5 times 4.5. Right? Okay, next is passing arguments by a value. Okay, passing arguments. Right. Okay, so in this example, passing arguments by a value, basically in Java, always use pass value, passing a value. Okay, so this value will be sent to the original variable and not change, okay, inside the methods. Okay, so for example here, okay, let's see here. This one just want to show, even though you have different values set in your main not in main methods, if you have different values in methods, okay, not main methods, in your methods, it will not change at the end. Alright. Okay, so example here, so compiler will go into this void main method first. Alright. Okay, then we have this variable num equal 25. Then there is calling methods, calling this change. So where is this change? So inside this parameter, inside this parenthesis, your parameter name num. Okay, so then this change is called in main. So the compiler will be going to the structure of method change. Alright. So in this parenthesis, there is intx. So this is your parameter. Okay, parameter. So in this main method, okay, the parameter inside this parenthesis is num. Okay, is num. So why we use different names? Okay, why we use different names? Okay, so for this parameter, for main and the method, you cannot use same name of the variable. Okay, for the parameter, so you need to choose different. Alright, so basically num in the main method is your x in your method change. This one in the change, referring to the corresponding parameter. Okay, so your num in main is 25, so it is actually x of 25. Okay, so your 25 is actually x. Alright. Okay, now there is x equal to 100. Okay, x equal to 100. Okay, x equal to 100 actually is different numbers with main, correct? Okay, basically nothing changed. Okay, nothing changed here. Even there is a syntax state here, x equal to 100. Alright. Okay, so this is the process to show when this change num, okay, change this num, change is a method names, right? Like macam function name. So inside this, there is a value 25. This one already set in the main method. So your num in main method is actually 25. Okay, so this change num will be the one assigned here in your methods. Alright. So actually x equal to 100 will not change anything. Okay, x equal to 100 will not change anything. Alright. Okay, so what is the process involved in the mains? After that, the num will be displayed. Okay, so the num will be displayed. So num will be 25. So x 100 will not be stated here lah. Why? Because there's no return value. So x equal to 100 is not returning to this main. So if you want to return something, so you need to use return. So that is the example of passing arguments by a value, but since there's no return, so nothing will be changed, okay, in this example. Alright, so next is the methods of overloading. This one already explains. We have public static void show, same method name, but you have two different parameters. Okay, next we see more examples here. Let me show. Okay, yes. Okay, so this is examples about overloading methods. Overloading methods. Alright. Okay, so our focus will be here. Okay, our focus will be your structure lah, right? Structure. Okay, so where is the main method? This is your punya main method, right? Okay. This program is actually to create a program for retail price. Okay, so the program must have the following methods. Okay, get wholesale. This is first method name. So this method should returns wholesale price. Okay, then second method get markup. So return markup, so percentage. So in this case, program need to know what is the value of the percentage of the markup. Then next one, calculate the retail. So you need to know in this calculate retail, you need to know the price and the markup. So then after calculate retail, then the program, the method needs to returns retail price. Alright. Okay, so actually you just need a program, one program, but it involves several methods. Okay, so the third method, calculate retail, involve price and markup. So then this structure need to return retail price, and then you have another method to display the result of the retail. So basically the last one is to display the outputs. Alright, so you have different modules or methods. Okay, so we need to differentiate different methods. So basically you have five structure involving mains and these four methods. Alright. Okay, so in the main methods here, basically we have void mains, public static void mains, and then we just need to call the to call the methods. Alright. Okay, to call the method. So basically we state everything here based on the method names: get wholesale, get markup, calculate retail, display results. Alright, so you have to make sure which one need to be stated, okay, in order. Okay, in order, because actually you can call different methods. You can call the methods more than one time also. Alright. Okay, so we just following because actually the one given, the method is already in order, okay, in correct order. So we have get wholesale, get markup, calculate retail, and then display result. Alright, so basically the first three involving the computations. Alright, involving the computations. The method number 4, there's no computation, just to display what is the final result. Right. Okay, so in the method number 4, there's no data type declarations. Alright, for the first three units, because it involves some computations. Alright. Okay, so get wholesale, because it's a floating number, so we declare as double. Then we need to assign stat to a variable. Okay, now we just use W for symbols. And then get markup, there's something to be computed also in decimals, and then we declare that as M, also as double. And then we need to calculate the retail between your W and M. Okay, wholesale value and the markup value. Right, there is a numbers, right, there is a floating numbers, so we declare as double. Alright, we just consume the highest memory, which is double, instead having a float. Right, so basically in your void method just need to call. Okay, then we create the main method number 1, get wholesale. So this structure actually need to read the inputs. Okay, need to read the input. So you need to have as usual your scanner. Okay, then you have SC, just object name, new scanner system in, then the instruction for the user to enter the inputs of your wholesale price. Okay, then it must return the value of reading here. Okay, whatever value is entered by the user, okay, in this line number 13, then this value, let's say it is 20, let's say the wholesale price 20, so that 20 need to return. Okay, where it's return to the mains actually lah, because the get wholesale is actually called by the main structure. Alright, so that 20 will be returned, so we didn't put here 20 because it depends on what is the input key in here. Okay, alright. Next one, okay, main call this get wholesale, then the main structure will call get markup. So get markup here, okay, this structure. So in this get markup, this structure need to read the markup percentage. Okay, so we have scanner SC, then you have instruction for the user to enter the markup percentage. Okay, so it will be in percentage value. So then let's say the value readed here as 5% lah, we just put here 5. Okay, just put here 5, but that 5 will be assumed as double, and then that 5 will be written to the main structure. Okay, so 5 written to the main structure 5. Okay, that 5 will be M in the main structure. So in the previous wholesale 20, so 20 is written to main, so that 20 is W in main structure. Alright, okay, next the third method call is calculate retail. Calculate retail will be the structure involve the retail value, which is the formula will be price plus price times markup over 100. Okay, markup because the markup value is in percentage, so that 5 will be in percentage as 5 over 100, for example. Alright. Okay, so if the price is 20, so 20, the price is 20, so this will be 20 times 5 divided by 100. Okay, so that is the exact example of the calculations. Alright, so in this one, double price and markup. Alright, double price and markup, this is price as 20, markup as 5. Alright, so this is there are two parameters here. So this one, since it's called in the main, right, because we know that in the previous line your W is 20, your M is 5. Okay, so that value will be computed based on this calculate return structure. This is the formula that will be computed, so that the return value will be going to your main structure. Okay. Okay, next one, display. So display result is here. So we do not have any declaration because this one just to display, nothing to be computed. So the structure of this display result will display the retail price. What is the final retail price? Right? So we just put here the task to display retail price of retail price is equal to RM watts. Okay, that is an example. Alright. Okay, so this is the flow of overload methods. Okay, so this is example for the output. Okay, 25. So when we key in 20, wholesale price 20, then your markup percentage is 5, so the computer will be 21. So this 21 you have to show. Let's say if you want to complete your desk check table, you need to show how to get this 21. Alright, so as a summary for today's topic, alright, so what you have learned based on the methods, these methods of module break large tasks into smaller one. Okay, you can see clearly in the recent example based on overload methods. Okay, then you have to take notes. Use void when there's no return value needed. Use return type, return keywords to send values back. Then arguments pass informations into methods. Okay, argument pass information into method means that this arguments is in your main. Okay, so whatever arguments that you have in main, it will be passed into method structure. Okay, so Java use pass by value. Then the purpose of doing these methods or module, this is to improve readability so that your program is much simpler to be performed and to produce outputs. Alright. Okay, any questions?
No, madam.
Okay.
No, madam.
Alright, so this is there are 3 practice questions that you can try lah, right, after this. Any other questions?
Madam.
Okay, let me show attendance first for UB students. Okay, UB students first, UB student. UB student cepat 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, next is MIT students.
Madam nak manual.
Kejap saya settle dulu siapa ni scan.
Thank you, madam.
Alright.
Thank you, madam.
Mm-mm.
Thank you, madam.
Alright, so take notes the lab 1 and 2 you can submit it's already open again, the submission link. Please make sure you show first
Madam, kalau saya dah buat correction sebab saya dah tunjuk madam 2 kali, saya dah buat correction, boleh terus submit ke?
Boleh.
Okay madam, thank
Alright,
you.
okay.
Madam.